So let's talk about Jack Dorsey. You know, shout out to Jack Dorsey. He spoke at InvestFest last year. Get your tickets. But
Yep.
cut 40% of the staff. And as a result, the stock price went up. So first, let's talk about, the Jack Dorsey move. And then we'll talk about the broader range implications that may have on the stock market for a variety of other companies. But what do you think of Jack Dorsey making that drastic cut in his staff for artificial intelligence?
I think he's just merely adapting to what the environment is telling him to do. And we have to be very honest. Like, he saw Elon buy his company, go in, slash the workforce. The company, you can argue, may be thriving more than ever. And it's unfortunate on the employment side, but if you're looking at a human capital cost side, we'll talk about morality and investing later. It was necessary. Like, if you are able to do some of these things with agents, automation, um, LLMs, it doesn't make sense to have your profit margins be low when your stock has been beat up, and you're probably one of the tech icons that has not benefited from this LLM movement and seeing the gain. Like, the stock has been destroyed over the last 4 or 5 years. So I think it was a great move for the stock. I think everyone's moving to an era of efficiency. I think now he's just allowed to do so. But this isn't the first or the last move that's going to happen. We're talking like 1.2 trillion in credit card debt. Over 3 million jobs have been lost, and since 2019, I think that number by 4 years will probably get up to 7 or 6.5 million. He's just going to be one of many. But I think he waited a while to do this, so he will still be in favor. But I think it was long overdue that he let off some of the human capital costs for the business to have higher profit margins. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you. When you talk about AI, number one, it's the simple formula, right? Higher efficiency, higher margins, lower costs, right?
Mhm.
So if you got higher margins, obviously you're going to see revenue go up. I think there's part of it that holds true. I think AI is a story in this, obviously, and there's plenty of other companies. I'll go down a list of companies where we're seeing this happen. But I also you pointed out 4 to 5 years, and so if we go to 4 to 5 years, if we look back to pre-pandemic, he really is at the same amount of employees that he had
Pretty much.
pre-pandemic,
Yep. Yep.
right? And so there might be that thought that maybe he had overhired, right,
Which he
because
did.
of the demand that happened,
Yeah.
and admittedly he did, and this was a course of correction, right? Like, we overhired, admittedly. What happened when you overhired and the margins weren't efficient? You saw what happened to the stock.
Got
It's been
destroyed.
beat down. It's been beat down
Mhm.
until you cut jobs, get it back to the levels we were at. Now again, it goes back to that formula: higher efficiency, higher margins, lower costs on the capital of people. And so that's happening across the board. We can talk about Amazon, who's done it, Intel, we know, Microsoft for
Yep.
sure, UPS. I mean, the list goes on. It's a
Amazon.
telltale
Yep.
sign. If they can figure out how to be more efficient and have higher margins for a lot of these companies, and we talked about profit margins, especially when it comes to Amazon, I think they're at 10%, which is improving. They're going to make sure that they can do it. And
Yeah.
if they have to spend extra capital to do it, they're going to make sure that they do it so they can that can happen at a faster rate. I think what we have to figure out is how we're going to adapt to this change. That's
Mhm.
the key, right? Like, we see it happening. How will we adapt? Because I don't think it'll be like, hey, everybody's cutting their employee numbers in half or 40%. That's pretty drastic. But the people who will figure out, all right, we can see the writings on the wall. How are we going to adapt? How are we going to figure out how to create frameworks so that we can be successful? The people who do that will be okay. They'll be okay.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I know we've all heard the conversation. These are going to be staggered layoffs. No one can withstand the public backlash of letting off 60 to 70% of their workforce at one time. So this is going to be a multi-year effort. This block needs to cut more to. I mean, they went up 27%. It doesn't offset the losses if you've held it from before then. But every major tech company on earth over the next 4 years is going to let off a majority of their workforce. There's no way around it. They're just staggering it so that they're not demonizing the public. But there's a lot of conversations, especially around the top 100, of how many they're going to let go and when to let go accordingly. So this won't be the last cut that we see at all. by any stretch of the imagination.
It's delicate. You want to go?
That leads to the next question, actually.
Well, I just want to say it's a delicate thing because when we talk about reducing force, right, we saw revenues go up. But if revenues go up and people lose jobs, then people don't have capital to spend. So it's a delicate thing, which is why it has to be staggered. It won't be all at once because if that happens, obviously with all the conflict that we're seeing now, if inflation starts to rise, we got a huge problem on our hands.